Good evening, basketball fans, and welcome to the Red Zone here at Hicksville High School as we are getting ready for Girls Varsity Basketball action on a Friday night in the Green Meadows Conference. The Tinora Rams have made the trip across Defiance County to visit with the homestanding Lady Aces of Hicksville here at the Red Zone tonight in a GMC clash. Hi, everybody. I am Bill Murphy with Hicksville Community Television. Brian Williams is here with me tonight running the camera. Chris Warner not able to be with us this evening. And we are looking forward to an exciting basketball game here tonight. We're hoping that things will go better for the Lady Aces than they did for the junior varsity team. In the JV game a little earlier, the Aces were waylaid by the Rams, a 31-point drubbing, 37-6. So we'll hope for a little better outcome in the varsity game here tonight. And as they get ready to announce the Lady Aces, let's take some time to fill you in on the starting lineups for this evening's contest. For the visiting Tinora Rams, their starting five, number 0 is 5'7" sophomore Amanda Meyer. Number 1 is 5'6" freshman Anna Fraser. Also getting the start for the Rams tonight, number 2, Tristan Norden. Norden is a 5'5" junior. Number 3 is 5'6" freshman Emily Haar. And number 12, that is 5'7" freshman Liv Muller. So looking at the Rams roster, the first thing I notice is that they have no seniors on their varsity squad. No seniors at all. Their team made up entirely of 4 juniors, and everybody else are freshmen and sophomores. Well, 5 juniors. 5 juniors, freshmen, and sophomores. So a very young team. On the Aces side, their starting 5, number 3, 5'10" sophomore Avery Slattery. Number 4 is 5'6" junior Kennedy Phillips. Number 10 is 6' freshman Kenzie Schrader. Number 11, 5'9" senior Kennedy Valena. And number 12 is 5'4" sophomore Izzy Smith. And center circle, it's going to be Meyer and Schrader. Schrader controls the tip. It comes down into Phillips' hands, and we're underway. Phillips will kick the ball back to Slattery. And they'll work their offense down low to Schrader. Schrader into a double team, gets it right back out to Phillips. Now over to Smith, and up to the top of the key. Slattery drives in. She'll kick it back out. Kennedy Phillips back to Slattery. Slattery into the paint. She'll put up the layup, and it's good. Avery Slattery with the first bucket of the night. And here come the Rams. They waste no time. A long pass down the floor. Turnaround jumper up and good for Anna Fraser. Tied at 2, and here comes Phillips. This might be a run-and-gun game. We'll see. Slattery to Smith. Smith reverses direction. Avery Slattery on the wing, a little bit long. Rebound comes down to the Rams. And they quickly come back the other way. Haar with the... And she dishes it off, and that's into the hands of Norden. Norden, guarded by Schrader, and we're going to have a whistle and a travel. So the turnover gets the ball back in the hands of the Aces. And Kenzie Schrader brings it across the timeline. Schrader down low, turnaround up, and Valena is no good. Rebound comes down to Meyer. Meyer tosses it over to Haar. Back to Meyer, and back to Haar. Haar, get it back to Meyer again as they're looking things over on the Aces defense. Meyer gets the ball to Norden. Norden, spin move, drives in, spins around, nothing there. Passes it off, shot is up and no good, but a foul underneath the bucket. And that's going to be on Schrader, I believe, number 10, her first. And that's going to send Amanda Meyer, number 0, to the line to shoot 2. Meyer's first one gets the bounce and is good. Meyer will get one more. Meyer's second one is also good. And into the game for the Rams, number 22, Kylie Oakley. Phillips gets the inbounds, and here come the Lady Aces. Phillips to Valena. Over to Slattery. Down to Schrader. Schrader puts it up a little bit short, gets her own rebound. That one's short, but she'll draw the foul, and Kenzie will go to the line to shoot two. And that'll be personal foul number 1 on Meyer. One team foul for each squad now. Schrader's first one off the back of the iron. No good. She'll get one more. Schrader's second one is good. 4-3 now. The lead only a single point for the Lady Rams. Running it down, kicking it back out. Here's the shot from three-point land is no good, and Valena grabs the rebound, gets it off to Smith, but Smith has it taken right out of her hands. And they toss the ball back over to Oakley. Shot up, no good, but again, the rebound comes down to the Rams. Three-pointer, no good. And Oakley almost had the rebound, but it's taken away by Schrader. Schrader goes the distance, lays it up, and in. Schrader gives the Aces a 1-point lead, 5-4. Muller to Oakley to Norden. Norden working against Slattery. Tries to get a shot off, and I think somebody got a bit of a wrist there. And that will be Avery Slattery's first personal. Team foul number 2 on the Aces. And that'll send Tristan Norden to the line to shoot two. Norden hits the first one. Valena out, and Bergman will be in for her. Also coming onto the floor, number 15, that's Molly Krall for the Aces. Norden's second shot is no good. And Schrader almost had it, lost the ball in her balance on the baseline, and it'll go back to the Rams. Tied at 5. Norden, long inbounds, gets the ball in to Muller. Muller, bounce pass over to Haar. Now back to Norden. Norden for 3, no good, and Krall grabs the rebound. Molly Krall takes it across the timeline. Looking things over, Krall tosses it over to Slattery. Slattery to Bergman and back to Krall. Down into the corner, that's Smith. Smith back to Slattery, who drives in and puts up the layup. Just a little bit short, gets her own rebound. She's going to be tied up by Oakley. It'll be a jump ball, and it'll go to the Rams. Inbounds to Haar. Emily will bring it across the timeline. Tosses it over to Muller. Back to Muller. Up, no good. Into the game now, number 5, Maggie Noggle for the Rams. Slattery with the ball for the Aces to Krall. Krall has it taken away by Oakley, loose on the floor. And we're going to have another jump ball, and that should be the Lady Aces possession. No, evidently not. It will be the Rams. Phillips will come back into the game, and Slattery will step out for a breather. Also getting ready to check back in Anna Fraser for the Rams. Mueller with the ball. To Oakley, to Norden. Norden kicks it back out to Oakley, and she'll toss it back to Norden. We'll check the bench for a sign from the coach. Norden drives into the paint. Her turnaround is stripped away by Schrader. Schrader takes it down the floor, and then she loses the basketball. Bergman comes up with it, though. And we're going to have a travel on Bergman as she tried to get the ball away while she was on the floor on her knees. Not able to do it. 3:17 to go, and the Rams get the ball back. Har brings the ball across. Almost taken away by Krall. Har gets it over to Oakley. Oakley drives into the paint, puts up the shot off the glass, no good. Bergman with the rebound, quickly to Krall. Molly takes it down the floor, hands it off to Kenzie Schrader. Schrader drives baseline, pitches it over to Phillips, who lines up the shot, in and out, no good. Rebound comes down to Har. Har tosses it down quickly to Noggle, and she tosses it over to Fraser. Fraser out, top of the key, that's Muller for three, no good. Krall with the board. 2:35 to go. Molly takes it across the timeline for the Aces. And nobody there. Both Lindsey Bergman and Macy Eicher were in the vicinity, and I think Eicher thought Bergman was going to go get the ball, and Bergman thought Eicher was going to get the ball, and neither of them did, and it goes out of bounds to the Rams. Har tosses it over to Fraser. Stolen by Bergman. Lindsey Bergman down the floor, looking for help from a teammate, gets it off to Phillips. Kennedy looking things over to Bergman. Bergman out to Eicher, who takes the shot. It's going to be short. Oakley grabs the rebound, and she's immediately tied up by both Schrader and Bergman. Possession arrow will give that to the Aces. Into the game now is Kelsey Monroe. Her inbounds is taken away by the Rams. Back to Miller. Miller looking for some help. Bounce pass to Oakley. And now Oakley guarded by Phillips. Gets it off to Har. Har backs her way into the paint. Turnaround jumper is up and no good. She gets the rebound, and it comes up into the hands of Fraser. Fraser back out to Muller, who puts it up from three-point land, and it's good. Liv Muller gets the three and makes it an 8-5 game with the Rams on top in the scoring. Phillips now over to Bergman. Bergman to Monroe. Monroe will take the long shot, and that's good. A long two for Kelsey Monroe. Just inside the arc. Fraser goes coast to coast, lays it up, no good. Eicher grabs the ball for the Aces, and she's going to get hacked. And that foul is going to be on Fraser. That'll be her first personal, and that's team foul number 2 on the Rams. Under a minute to go, getting ready to check in for Hicksville, or for, Emma Lieb for the Rams. Lieb had 12 points in the junior varsity game earlier. Slattery with the ball to Eicher for the Aces. Back to Slattery on top of the key. Slattery shoots it to Monroe. Monroe back to Slattery. Slattery drives in, puts up the layup, no good. Rebound loose on the floor, and it's snatched by Noggle. Noggle to Har. Har's going to hold it up just this side of the timeline. Now she goes across. Har to Norden. Norden moving into the paint, kicks it back out. Noggle takes the shot, no good. Long carom comes out to Phillips. Phillips down the floor, tosses it across to Slattery, who puts it up a little bit shy off the iron. Bergman grabs the rebound, puts it up, no good. And the second attempt by Phillips does go down. And that's the end of the first quarter. And after one, it's the Aces leading the Rams 9-8 here in the varsity game. So I'll take a minute here to catch our breath and say a big thank you to our basketball underwriters, the Jim Schmidt family of automotive dealerships here in Hicksville, Ohio. We want to thank them so very much once again For the entirety of the school year, the Jim Schmidt family of automotive dealerships, Jim Schmidt Chevrolet Buick and Jim Schmidt Ford, and online at jimschmidtauto.com, have stepped in to help underwrite all of our Aces sports coverage here on Hicksville Community Television. They've been able to they made it possible. We were able to bring you lots of football action and volleyball, and of course here in the basketball season, boys and girls from the junior high all the way through the varsity level. We want to thank them so very much for their continued support. They make it possible for us to bring you a lot of home game action, and we get to go on the road for the postseason for the varsity sports as well. So we appreciate that. We remind you that anytime you see Aces Sports action on Hicksville Community Television, they're the ones that make it possible. The Jim Schmidt family of automotive dealerships right here in Hicksville, Ohio. Jim Schmidt Chevrolet Buick, Jim Schmidt Ford, and online at jimschmidtauto.com. 8 minutes on the clock. A 1-point game as the Rams and the Aces are battling it out in the best inter-county GMC tradition here. Ball stolen away. Bergman got a hand on it, and it's controlled by Schrader. Schrader gets it to Krall. Molly Krall working against the defense, gets it back to Schrader on the wing. Schrader to Slattery, top of the key. Slattery will dish it off to Bergman. Lindsay almost loses the basketball, but gets it right back. Shot up from Slattery's no good. Bergman goes for the rebound, and she's going to put it up, no good, but she'll go to the line to shoot two. And that's going to be on number 12. So I think that'd be Liv Mueller. So Mueller will pick up her first personal, team foul number 3 on the Rams, and Lindsey Bergman at the line to shoot two. Bergman hits the first one. One more for the freshman. In and out, and the rebound comes down to Meyer. Meyer tosses it over to Haar. Haar quickly down the floor to Fraser, and it's out of her hands and out of bounds, but I think last touched by Avery Slattery. So Mueller will get ready to inbounds, and they'll reset their offense. Mueller gets the ball into Haar. Haar looking things over. Back to Mueller. Mueller drives in, and she's going to get hacked. And I think that's going to be on Bergman. That'll be team foul number 3 on the Aces, as Lindsey Bergman will pick up her first personal foul. Inbounds to Fraser, and now Norden with the ball. Excuse me, that was Meyer had it, and then Norden. Norden with the ball right now, drives into the paint. Norden puts up the shot, and it's partially blocked. Bergman comes down with it, hands it to Slattery, and we'll come back the other way. 6:52 left in the half. Krall to Smith. Smith to Bergman. Bergman a long two, and it's good. Lindsey Bergman dials it up just inside the three-point arc. 12-8 now. Aces up by 4. Norden guarded by Slattery. Norden hands it off to Mueller. Mueller battling her way down the side, guarded by Slattery, and Avery reaches in, and it's a jump ball. Got the ball cleanly, and the possession arrow will give it to the Aces. Oakley's going to check back in as Haar will step out for a breather for the Rams. Kenzie Schrader inbounds to Slattery, and Slattery gets to the timeline, and Coach Josh Freese calls a timeout. That's the first timeout taken on either side for the game. A quick 30-second timeout for the Aces. Of course, Josh Freese, head coach for the Lady Aces. The Rams head coach is Kyle Tichy. And I'm assuming that Kent Tichy, who's the JV coach, is probably his brother. But maybe they're cousins. I don't know. Rams will break huddle first. They've got Mueller out there on the floor along with Meyer, Fraser, Norden, and Oakley. For the Aces, it's Schrader, Slattery, Krall, Smith, and Bergman. Schrader inbounds to Avery Slattery. Slattery over to Krall. rockets it into, and they rocket it into Schrader, but Amanda Meyer commits a foul away from the ball. So she'll get the whistle, and that'll be team foul number 4 on the Rams. Noggle is going to come in now for Tinora. And it'll be Ace's ball on the baseline. Schrader alley-oops it into Bergman. Bergman tried to rocket it back into Schrader, coming back in down low, and just a little bit too far in front of her. It goes out of bounds. So they'll turn it back over to the Rams. Mueller bounces it off the backboard and right into the hands of Kroll, who passes it to Schrader, who lays it up and in. Okay. That's like a Harlem Globetrotters type of shot. It was an unintentional, but it worked out well for the Aces. On the other end of the floor, Mueller gets the ball from Norton, who was trapped in a double team on the sideline, and we're going to have another whistle. And that's going to be on white number 12. And that'll be Izzy Smith's first personal. And team foul number 4 on the Aces. Izzy will come over and have a seat. Phillips back into the game now for her. And also stepping out is Norton for the Rams. And Har's back in for her. Har's going to take the big 3, and she buries it. Emily Har with 3. Down on the other end of the floor, and that's Kenzie Schrader doing the face plant, and that'll be a foul on Liv Mueller. Mueller picks up her second personal and team foul number 5. It'll be on the floor, so Ace's ball out of bounds. Mueller will step out, and let's see, Oakley back into the game for her. Last touch by the Aces goes out of bounds to the Rams. Meyer getting ready to inbounds to Har. She does, guarded by Kroll. Har holds up, tosses it back to Meyer. Meyer across the timeline. Meyer gets it off to Fraser. Fraser looking for some help. Down into the corner, that's Meyer again. Meyer. And then to the top of the key to Har. Har back to Oakley now. Rams working it around the perimeter and not seeing anything opening up inside yet. Down the corner, that's going to be Oakley for 3. No good. Put back. Nope. Out of bounds. Ace's ball. Meyer tried to get the basketball under control, rebounding after that shot, not able to do it. Goes out of bounds to the Aces. Kroll gets the inbounds from Schrader, quickly passes cross court to Slattery, back to Kroll. Kroll, and Schrader gets the ball stolen from her, and she's going to get called for the foul to stop the layup from Anna Fraser. Aces fans not happy with that at all. Kenzie Schrader gets team foul number 5 and personal foul number 2. And Anna Fraser at the line to shoot 2. Her team down by 3. Fraser gets the first one. Makes it 14-12. Monroe into the game for Schrader for the Aces. And one more for Anna Fraser. And that one's no good. Phillips grabs the rebound for Hicksville. Phillips to Slattery. Slattery across the timeline. Slattery to Kroll. Kroll runs into trouble with Oakley, and it'll call it a jump ball, and it'll be the Rams getting possession on the arrow. So inbounds to Har. Har guarded by Kroll. Har gets it across half court. Har to Meyer for the Rams. Meyer partially deflected, but Har's there to scoop the ball back up. Har back to Meyer, top of the key. She drives into the paint. The layup is up and good for Amanda Meyer. Excuse me, that was for Har. Out of bounds on the other end of the floor. It'll be Ace's ball. No, I take that back. It'll be the Rams ball. Check that. Trying to do two things at once here and only looking out a half of my eye. Har with the ball for the Rams. Into a double team with Slattery and Krall. And a timeout called by the Rams bench. As they had her in a pretty good pickle there. Game tied 14-all. Quick 30-second timeout for the Rams as they'll retain possession and have the ball on the sideline here. Liv Mueller getting ready to check back in for Tinora. Both teams have committed 5 team fouls, so we may well be shooting free throws in the bonus before we get to halftime. 1 timeout burned by each squad, so both teams have 4 timeouts left. Second period, it's the varsity girls game here. Green Meadows Conference action Friday night. Bill and Brian, glad to have you here with us. In an exciting varsity game so far. We're tied at 14. Mueller gets the ball into Har. Har holds up for a second and then makes her move. She gets it over to Norden, who's back into the game. Norden to Oakley. Oakley drives in and backs it right back out to Norden. Norden will hold up again. Rams will move it around on top. Now a spin move, and Norden takes it into the paint, up off glass, no good. Rebound grabbed by Avery Slattery. Slattery to Krall. Krall drives in. Molly puts the ball up and good. Krall gets her first points of the night, and the Aces back on top, 16-14. Krall got a hand on it, knocked it out of bounds. It'll stay with the Rams. Noggle back into the game for Tinora, and Smith is checking in, and Krall will step out for a bit of a breather. And let's see, Slattery will come out as well, as Valena will come back in. Har gets the inbounds from Mueller. Har takes it up, launches it up, no good. And Noggle and Valena tied up. It'll be a jump ball, and that'll go to the Aces. Quick inbounds to Monroe. Kelsey being guarded by Mueller. Kelsey tosses it to Valena. Valena, ball loose, but Phillips gets a hold of it, and they're going after the ball again. And now Phillips on the wing down into the corner to Monroe. Monroe tosses it to Phillips with 2:29 left in the half. Phillips gets a little help from Smith. Tries to get it into Izzy, and it's tipped away, and it winds up in the hands of Har for the Rams. Har quickly to Mueller. Mueller drives down the floor, bounce pass, and out of bounds. I think she was expecting Oakley to cut towards her to get that bounce pass, and Oakley did not do that. Kenzie Schrader will come in, and Phillips will have a seat. Get everything situated. And the officials noticed that the scoreboard keeper forgot to switch the possession arrow after the last jump ball. So they got the possession arrow switched. Quickly down the floor, Eicher gets it to Valena. Valena's shot no good. Ball is loose, and it comes up to Kenzie Schrader. Schrader gets it stripped away, and there'll be a whistle and a foul, and that's going to be on Oakley. Oakley picks up her first personal, team foul number 6 on the Rams. One more, Ace is in the bonus. Monroe looking things over, gets it into Eicher. Eicher on the wing. Bounce pass to Valena. Valena works to the top of the key, drives it down to Monroe. Now Monroe into the paint, but she'll dish it off to Smith. And they'll work the wheel a little bit. Valena will take a shot off the iron, no good, and knocked out of bounds. It should go to the Rams. Eicher will come out, and Slattery back into the game for the Aces. Minute 43 to go in the half. Har with the ball for the Rams. Works up the sideline. Har dishes it off to Fraser. Fraser looking for some help, and she tosses the ball right to Mackenzie Schrader, but Mueller strips it out of her hands. Mueller with the ball back goes towards the hoop, and she's going to get the charge as she clobbers Izzy Smith. Smith had position, offensive foul on Mueller. That'll be 3 on Liv Mueller, and number 7 for the Aces. So the Aces in the bonus now for the remaining minute, 25 seconds of this first half. Leading by 2, 16-14. Kenzie Schrader with the ball. They'll take it across the timeline and work their offense. Monroe in and out. Put back by Bergman. Nope, Bergman tosses it out to Slattery, who takes a shot that's no good. And it's trapped. Well, let's see. The run down by Slattery, who tried to get it to Smith. It was slapped out of bounds by Norden. The Aces will retain possession. And getting ready to check into the game is Madeline Zachrich, number 42, another player we saw in the JV contest a little earlier. So Slattery inbounds it to Schrader with 1:03 left in the half. Schrader. The Aces will work it around the perimeter, maybe take a little time off the clock. Slattery inside to Smith. Smith gets it stripped out of her hands by Norden. Norden down the floor. She'll hold up, give it off to Noggle. Noggle, nothing there, loose on the floor, and Slattery comes up with it for the Aces. Slattery to Smith. Smith kicks it out to Bergman, who takes a shot short. Put back by Kenzie Schrader is good. .1 seconds. Kroll will come in for Schrader. And Noggle will get ready to inbounds the ball for the Rams. Noggle tosses it in, and it's stolen by Kroll. Kroll loses the dribble but gets it back, tosses it over to Slattery, who puts up the shot, and it's good. Inbounds quickly now the Rams. Norden off her hands, but she gets the ball back under control. She launches it down to Fraser. Kicks it back out to Norden for 3. No good. Bergman grabs the rebound, gets it off. And Smith throws it nearly the length of the court. Comes up a little bit short. Shot's no good. And that's the end of the first half. And boy, what a difference between the JV and the varsity game, as this one has been a thriller. As we go to halftime, the Aces leading the Rams 20-14. We're going to step aside, but we invite you to stay tuned. Brian and I will be back. We'll have all the exciting second half play-by-play coming your way right here on HIX-TV. Welcome back as we are at halftime here at the Red Zone. Girls Varsity Basketball action in the Green Meadows Conference. If you are just tuning in and joining us at halftime, it's the Aces leading the Rams in a very exciting game, 20-14, our halftime score. Get ready to get the second half of action underway. Let's give you the unofficial scoring for the first half, beginning with the Tinora Rams. Their leading scorer in the first half was number 3, Emily Haar. Emily with a three-pointer and a bucket for 5 points. After that, 3 points on a three-pointer for Liv Mueller, and 3 points for Anna Fraser. Anna had a field goal and a free throw. 2 free throws and 2 points for Amanda Meyer, and a free throw and 1 point for Tristan Norden. And that adds up to 14. So there you have that. And then on the Aces side, leading all scorers in the first half, Kenzie Schrader with 3 buckets and a free throw for 7 points. After that, fairly balanced scoring. Avery Slattery had a couple of field goals for 4. A 3-point game for Lindsey Bergman with a bucket and a free throw. And then a bucket and 2 for Kennedy Phillips, Molly Kroll, and Kelsey Monroe, and that adds up to 20. So there you have it. We'll get ready to get the second half underway here. Final seconds are ticking down, and we'll see how things go when we get into the second half of play here. Both teams spending a lot of time in the locker room, not coming out till only about 3 minutes left. Just a real quick warm-up. So we'll see what kind of adjustments both squads have made in the halftime locker room. Glad to have you with us. Again, Bill Murphy, Brian Williams, and Hicksville Community Television here on Friday night. Aces will have the ball to get things started. Schrader will inbounds it to Slattery, and we are underway. Slattery launches it down to Monroe, tosses it across to Phillips, who puts it up and in. Kennedy Phillips draws first blood for the second half for the Aces. Other way, knocked out of Amanda Meyer's hand by Izzy Smith and out of bounds, so it'll stay with the Rams. Har will get ready to inbounds the ball. Har looking, finally manages to get it into Meyer. Meyer down in the corner, gets the ball out of there, and it's going to roll out of bounds, and that'll be Ace's ball. Josh Freese signaling a play from the bench. I'll work it up against a little bit of a pressure from the Rams across the timeline. Slattery to Phillips. Phillips down to Smith. Smith bounce passes it to Monroe. Kicks it back out to Slattery. Avery, a good look from three-point land, no good. Norden grabs the board, bounces it to Mueller, and Mueller gets it off to Har. Har back to Mueller. Mueller gets it to Fraser. Fraser back to Har, over to Norden on the wing. Now Norden working her way into the paint. Turnaround jumper is up and no good. Rebound comes down to Slattery. Slattery up the floor, into the corner to Schrader, who hangs on to the ball. Schrader, her shot no good. And Mueller grabs the rebound and tries to pass it off to Har. Avery Slattery almost intercepts the pass, but not quite. Knocks it out of bounds, stays with the Rams. And a bounce pass in, it'll go out of bounds on the side. I don't think anybody touched it. And so it'll be Ace's ball, as Mueller will come out of the game. And I believe Noggle steps in for her. And that's going to be a foul on, I think they're going to get Emily Har for that one. Yep, that'll be Emily's first personal foul and team foul number 1 for the Rams here in the second half. Phillips gets the inbound, tosses it right back to Slattery. Slattery to Schrader, up off glass, no good. Out of bounds. It'll go to the Rams. Kenzie Schrader had a nice looking shot, just couldn't quite get the roll. Ball inbounds. Quickly up the floor. Har gets it back out to Fraser. Fraser to Norden. Norden, not sure where to go with it. Gets it back to Har. Guarded by Smith. Har works her way in and lays it in. Emily Har with her first bucket of the second half. She's got 7 now, and quick timeout called. And that's going to be the Rams taking a 30-second timeout. Aces leading 22-16. And again, Tinora wanting to talk over something here early on in this third quarter. Ace is up by a half a dozen, but this is one of those games where a 6-point lead can evaporate really quickly. So not yet able to take anything for granted here. Teams will break huddle. It'll be Aces ball on the baseline. Kroll gets the inbounds from Slattery to Phillips. Phillips bounce passes it over to Slattery. Avery, and back to Monroe now. Monroe will bounce pass to, and they'll continue to work around the offense. Monroe to Kroll. Kroll. Slattery quickly to Phillips. Phillips down to Schrader. Schrader loses the ball. Turned a little too fast, and the dribble got away from her, and it goes out of bounds. Quick inbounds to Haar. Haar over to Norden. Guarded by Slattery. Norden works her way down the sideline into the paint. Kroll gets a hand on the basketball. Norden scoops it back up, gets it to Noggle. Noggle looking for some help. Back out to Norden at the top of the key. And then over to Fraser. Haar now. Haar drives in, and it's over Noggle's head and out of bounds. Aces ball. Kenzie Schrader into Kroll. Kroll across the timeline with about 4:45 to go in our third quarter. Schrader loses it, but Kroll gets the ball right back. Bounce pass now down to Phillips in the corner. Phillips, and they'll move it across. Monroe will take the shot, no good underneath the bucket. Schrader scoops it out. Now Slattery for three, no good. Norden grabs the rebound for the Rams. Oakley getting ready to check back in for Tinora. Meyer with the ball now, and she'll feed it off to Fraser. Fraser will put up the hook shot, get it, and she's going to the line. Anna Fraser gets the bucket. Kelsey Monroe picks up the personal foul. Team foul number 1. And it looks like Fraser might have taken a shot to the teeth there. Bergman will come in. Monroe will come out. And Fraser is going to get a free throw, see if she can complete the three-point play and draw her team to within 3. And Fraser hits it. That's good, and it's 22-19. And Fraser will come out, and they'll take a look at her lip, make sure that there is no blood. They didn't see any, so down into the corner. That's Eicher with the ball and a timeout called by Josh Freese. And Freese is going to call, Joshua's going to call a full 1-minute timeout. 3 timeouts remaining now for both the Aces and the Rams. Again, both teams have only 1 foul in the second half. Doc Haggerty went over and checked on Fraser at the Rams bench and gave her the thumbs up. That's looking good. 6-point lead has been cut in half here in the last few minutes of play on the floor. I should say seconds of play on the floor. And the Aces and the Rams both continually working and making those adjustments. These league games, nobody wants to take a loss in the GMC. So they will break. It'll be Noggle, Oakley, Norden, Meyer, and I believe Haar on the floor for the Rams. And Schrader, Bergman, Phillips, Eicher, and Slattery for the Aces. Slattery tosses it into Eicher. Macy looking over things, bounces it back to Slattery. Slattery hands it off to Eicher again. Eicher top of the key. Eicher looking back to Slattery. Slattery to Bergman. Bergman from the free throw line is good. Lindsey Bergman puts it home. 24-19 Aces. Here comes Haar for the Rams. Haar kicks it back to Meyer. Meyer guarded by Eicher. She's going to go to the hoop, lay it up, and lay it in. Meyer with the bucket, and it's 24-21, back to a three-point game. Slattery to Bergman. Good. 6 points now, make that 7 points now for Lindsey Bergman. Norden across the way to Oakley. Oakley for three, no good. Schrader grabs the rebound. Kenzie quickly down the floor, going to go coast to coast, put it up. No, she misses the layup. Noggle grabs the ball. Noggle gets it over to Haar. Haar across the timeline on the wing. Haar feeds it down low to Oakley, puts it up, no good, but she gets her own rebound, and the putback does go down. Kylie Oakley gets a bucket, and her first 2 points of the night. 26-23 now. Phillips for the Aces to Slattery. Slattery back to Phillips. Phillips, and now Bergman. Bergman. And Eicher will be taking the shot, a little bit short. Goes off the front of the iron. And Haar tries to take it down all the way. The ball knocked out of her hands. It's going to go out of bounds. Rams will hang on to it. Smith and Kroll will come in for Eicher and Slattery, and Norden will come out, and Anna Fraser back in for the Rams. Long inbounds. It comes into the hands of Meyer and then to Fraser, and down the corner to Haar. Haar back to Fraser, top of the key. Fraser tries to make a break, bounces it off of her foot, and kicks the ball out of bounds. Back to the Aces with 1:59 to go in the third quarter. Kroll gets it into Phillips. Clock starting up again. 3-point lead for the Aces, under 2 minutes to go in the third quarter. Kroll with the ball, top of the key. On the wing, Smith inside to Kenzie Schrader. Schrader loses it, but the ball rolls right into Kennedy Phillips' hand. She tosses it over to Bergman. Bergman's shot is no good. Rebound comes out, and again, Aces are going to maintain possession. It goes out of bounds, last touched by Tinora. Phillips gets it into Bergman, who pops it quickly, no good. Underneath the bucket, that's Phillips in trouble, and a jump ball, and that'll go to the Rams. Inbounds to Haar. Haar launches it down to Oakley. Oakley drives baseline, puts it up, and good. That's 4 now for Kylie Oakley. And it's a 1-point game. Phillips to Kroll. Kroll back to Phillips. And she'll get it to Kenzie Schrader, who will launch it to Molly Kroll. Kroll drives into the paint, puts it up, draws the foul. Ball does not go down for her, but she'll shoot 2. And that foul will be on Emily Haar. That'll be Haar's second and team foul number 2 for the Rams. And Molly Kroll will be at the line to shoot 2. Hicksville leading by a point. Misses the first one. Mueller and Norden back into the game. Noggle will come out, and so will Fraser for the Rams. Valena getting ready to check in for the Aces. Kroll's second one is good. Kroll makes it a 2-point game, 25-27. Rams will have the ball, 1:03 left in the third quarter. And Smith steals the inbounds pass, and she travels trying to get it to Kenzie Schrader. Takes a few more ticks off the clock, 1:01, and Kroll steals another one. Schrader's going to get hacked going to the hoop. So a couple inbound passes stolen. The first one by Smith and the second by Kroll. And this time, Kenzie Schrader will go to the line to shoot 2. And that'll be number 3 on Emily Haar. And team foul number 3 on the Rams. Schrader buries it. That's her first point of the second half. Aces need to hit their free throws here. In and out, no good. Rebound comes down to Mueller for the Rams. Guarded by Smith. She tosses it to Haar. Gets it to Norden. Almost picked off by Phillips. Norden down to the corner to Oakley. Oakley for 3. It's going to be short. Schrader grabs the rebound. Quickly down the other way with 40 seconds to Phillips. Lays it up and in. Nice transition. Quick inbounds to Meyer. Meyer kicks it back out to Oakley. Oakley's going to launch another 3, and that'll be short as well. Valena will pick it up. Valena stops, gets it to Smith. Smith over to Kroll with 16 seconds. Kroll to Phillips with 12. Phillips wanting to protect that 5-point lead, gets it to Kenzie Schrader. Schrader's going to drive down, and she'll travel. Tried to do the fake shot, jump up in the air and do the pass, didn't quite execute it all the way, and gets called for the travel. So with 0.8 of a second, Rams get the ball. Norton's going to see if she can get it inbounds, and if they can make something happen in under a second, and they're just going to get possession and hang on to it. Haar grabs the ball and just holds it. And that's the end of the third quarter. So after 3 of this varsity contest, it's the Aces by 5. They lead the Rams 30-25, our third quarter score. 8 exciting minutes of basketball yet to come in regulation. And time for us to say another big thank you to our basketball broadcast underwriters, the Jim Schmidt family of automotive dealerships in Hicksville, Ohio. Jim Schmidt Chevrolet Buick and Jim Schmidt Ford, the Jim Schmidt truck lot, and of course online at jimschmidtauto.com. Remember, if you're in the market for a vehicle, one that's brand new or pre-owned, whether it's a car, truck, van, or SUV, you owe it to yourself to stop by and check out the great selection they have on the lots at the Jim Schmidt family of automotive dealerships. Or you can check out the complete dealer inventory online anytime at jimschmidtauto.com. We're so proud to have their continued underwriting support for our Aces basketball broadcast here on Hicksville Community Television. The Jim Schmidt family of automotive dealerships right here in Hicksville, Ohio. Jim Schmidt Chevrolet Buick, Jim Schmidt Ford, and online at jimschmidtauto.com. Take a quick swallow of some soda here. Wet the whistle a little bit for this last 8 minutes of basketball. Aces with the ball to get things started. Molly Kroll tosses it over to Slattery, launches it inside to Valena. Valena goes to the hoop and draws the foul. Kennedy Valena couldn't get the shot to drop, but she will go to the line. And that'll be Oakley picking up her second personal foul and team foul number 4 for the Rams. Valena hits the free throw. That's her first point of the night. Kennedy, the lone senior on the Aces basketball varsity squad. One more. And that one's off the iron, no good. Norden grabs the board for the Rams. Norden guarded by Kroll, gets it over to Mueller. Mueller gets it back to Norden. Now Norden reverses course over to Oakley on the wing. Oakley another 3-point attempt, no good. Norden grabs the rebound, tries to get it out of there. She finally does to Haar. Haar back to Oakley and back to Haar, top of the key. Now Haar down into the corner, that's Mueller. She'll drive baseline and lose the ball out of bounds. Kroll gets the inbounds, and the Aces will bring up the floor. Kroll to Schrader. Schrader to Slattery. Slattery lays it up, no good. Loose on the floor. And they whistled the play dead, so Slattery's shot does not count, and that's going to be a foul on Schrader, I do believe. Kenzie picks up her third personal and team foul number 2 for the Aces. Norden inbounds it to Haar. Haar in a double team gets it away to Norden. Aces will fall back now. Norden across the timeline. Guarded by Slattery. Off the hands and out of bounds. That'll be Aces ball. Haar couldn't quite handle the pass. 6:49 left in regulation. Fraser checking back in. And Oakley will step out for Tinora, and Eicher will come in for Slattery, who looks like she might have either a cramp or maybe she pulled her hip. Monroe to Crawl, and Crawl's going to be tripped by Fraser. So Anna Fraser will get her second personal foul. That'll be team foul number 5 on the Rams. It'll be Aces ball on the sideline. Monroe into Bergman, up off glass, no good. And another jump ball, and that'll go to the Rams. They have the possession arrow. Norden trying to direct some traffic, launches it, gets it into Mueller. Mueller gets out of the sideline, jam she was in, guarded by Crawl. Crawl might have reached in and gotten a bit of the wrist. She did. So Molly Crawl will get her first personal foul, and that'll be team foul number 3 on the Aces. And it'll be Rams ball side court into Haar. Haar, guarded by Crawl, flips it over to Mueller, who's guarded by Bergman. Mueller down low to Haar, who turns around, launches it, no good. Ball comes down to Fraser. Fraser kicks it back out to Norden. Norden for 3, no good, but she's going to be fouled. I'm not sure it's going to be the second foul on Lindsey Bergman. It was not in the act of shooting, so Norden will not be doing 3 free throws. She just gets the ball on the sideline into Haar, back to Norden. Another 3, and that one's good. Tristan Norden finally gets one of her 3-pointed shots to go down. She and Oakley have been trying an awful lot, but they haven't had much success. Eicher to Bergman, turn around, up off glass, no good. Norden grabs the rebound. Norden almost a travel. And we're going to have a whistle, and I think that might be Schrader. Or, let's see. That's going to be another one on Smith. Izzy Smith gets the push off. Shows that's her second personal. That's team foul number 5 on the Aces now. Haar for the Rams gets the ball in. Spin move by Meyer, up no good, and Monroe grabs the rebound. 5:45, and here come the Lady Aces. Kenzie Schrader to Monroe. Monroe bounce pass to Slattery. Slattery back to Schrader. And they'll continue to work it around the perimeter. Slattery gets it to Monroe. Monroe to Bergman. Bergman from the free throw line, no good. Rebound comes down, and I think that was Noggle, and Noggle's going to get pushed by I take that back. That was not Noggle. That was Meyer that got the push, and that'll be 3 personal fouls now on Lindsey Bergman, and team foul number 6 on the Aces. So next foul committed by Hicksville puts the Rams into the bonus. Out of bounds, last touched by Slattery. It'll be Tenora's ball. With 5:18 to go, and the Rams trailing by only 3, 31-28. Haar, long inbounds to Fraser. Fraser working her way into the paint, kicks it out to Mueller. Mueller from three-point land, no good. She goes right over the hoop, and on the other side, Slattery is there to make the catch. Now Monroe, bounce pass and a bad pass. It's off of the hands of Slattery and into the hands of Norden. Norden down the floor, kicks it back out to Fraser for three. Up and no good. And a whistle underneath the hoop. And that's going to be on Amanda Meyer. That'll be her third personal. Mueller will come out and Nagel will go in for the Rams. 6 team fouls for the Rams as well. So both teams just one foul away from going into the bonus. Slattery to Smith. Down to Schrader, just a little bit too high for Kenzie. She loses the basketball. The Rams come back the other way. Haar to Norden on the wing. Back to Haar, top of the key. Haar dishes it off to Nagel. Back to Norden. Norden spin move and then out to Fraser. Fraser drives baseline and she'll be hacked going to take the shot. She'll go to the line to shoot two. And that's going to be on Izzy Smith. That'll be Smith's third. And team foul number 7. So the Rams in the bonus now. And Anna Fraser at the line. Misses the first one. It's a 2-shot foul made in the act of shooting. So Smith will come out and Krall will go in for her for the Aces. 4:15 left in regulation. And one more free throw coming for Anna Fraser. Fraser misses them both. Phillips grabs the rebound over to Slattery, and here come the Lady Aces. And a timeout from Coach Josh Freese. So we're just about halfway through the fourth quarter. Freese is going to take the quick 30-second timeout. He'll have 2 remaining for the remainder of the game. Again, the Aces, 17 fouls, so the Rams are in the bonus. Rams have committed 6, so the next foul committed by a Ram will put the Aces into the bonus. And again, just a shade over 4 minutes left in regulation. It's a 3-point game. Aces 31 and the Rams 28. And I got a feeling this one may go right down to the wire. Rams break huddle first, and here come the Aces. It'll be Hicksville's ball. Slattery getting set to handle the inbounds. Slattery launches it in to Krall, right back to Schrader, who lays it up and in. Kenzie Schrader with the bucket. 10 points now for Kenzie. They've got the Rams trapped in a double team and makes them burn a timeout on the Tinora bench. Haar was trapped by a double team on the sideline, and that forced Coach Kyle Tichy to burn a timeout on the Rams side. So now both the Rams and the Aces, only 2 timeouts remaining for the balance of the game. This will be a full 1-minute timeout from the Rams. Well, we'll have a little time here, and I guess we can look ahead on the schedule a little bit. We're going to be right back here in the Red Zone tomorrow night, weather permitting, because we'll see how things go with the expected winter weather that we're supposed to get tonight. But we're going to keep our fingers crossed and hope that we'll be able to get the game in. So we will be here tomorrow night with the boys. They will be hosting North Central in non-conference action. And then after tonight, the next home game for the Lady Aces will be on January 21st. They'll host Montpelier in a non-conference game. So as we get ready to head into the last part of January, into February, you still have a fair amount of basketball that's still going to be coming your way. Rams with the ball as we're back in action. Norden inbounds it to Haar. Haar back to Norden. Looking things over. Norden Backs in and then backs right back out. Launches it across the way to Meyer. Back to Haar at the top of the key. Haar now to Fraser and back to Haar and over to Norden. Fraser and Norden again. Norden back to Haar now. 3:23, ball loose and out of bounds. Last touched by the Aces, so the Rams will maintain possession. Nagel will come out and Norden will come out. And back into the game, Mueller and Meyer. Or it should be Nagel does not come out. It was just Meyer that comes back into the game. Launch, and that's Mueller. Mueller from three, no good. And Kenzie Schrader grabs the rebound as Phillips and Haar both go down. Kroll with the ball now, back to Phillips. Phillips feeds it to Slattery. Slattery drives in, and she'll draw the foul. So that'll be 4 now on demand to Meyer, I believe. Nope, they're going to say Oakley got it. So that'll be 3 on Kylie Oakley. And that will put Avery Slattery at the line. Gets the first one. 34-28. Avery gets one more. That one's no good, and the rebound comes down to Mueller. She'll toss it over to Haar. Under 3 minutes now. Haar back to Mueller. Mueller to Oakley, and Oakley back to Haar. Aces trying to keep them out of the paint area. Kroll guards Norden, and it'll be back to Haar. Haar kicks it back out to Mueller. Mueller down into the corner to Oakley. Oakley's going to drive the hoop, put it up, no good. Kroll grabs the rebound. She'll slow it down just enough to get it to Monroe, and then back to Molly Kroll. And Kroll takes it across the timeline. She'll toss it to Phillips. 2:11 left in the game. Aces up by 6. Still a 2-point game with a couple of free throws, or 3-pointers that could tie it up, but we're going to have another whistle. And a foul, and that should put somebody at the line to shoot some free throws. And that's going to be on Emily Haar. That'll be her 4th. Oakley will come out of the game, and Kenzie Schrader shoots 1 and 1. Schrader misses the front end, and the ball taken away from Slattery by Norden. Norden throws an errant pass, but it's run down by Haar. Haar down into the corner. Shot it up, no good from Meyer. And we'll come back the other way. Schrader to Monroe, to Kroll. And we're going to have another timeout. Minute 35, and Josh Freese is going to call his next to last timeout. He'll have one remaining. A full 1-minute timeout as they're going to see if they can set their strategy to try to bring this one home and put another W on the ledger for the Lady Aces. 18 fouls committed by the Rams, 7 by the Aces. Both teams in the bonus. Possession arrow favors the Aces right now. And again, in the 4th quarter. Glad to have you here with us on Hicksville Community Television. We're going to wrap this one up. We're going to probably have kind of a quick post-game show for this one because we do want to try to get packed up and head out of here as quickly as we can in case the anticipated snowfall is as is as heavy as they're saying it might be. All right, teams break huddle. Minute 35 left in regulation. 34-28. Aces with the lead and the ball. Slattery gets it into Crawl. Back to Slattery. Slattery working around, gets it to Phillips. Aces are going to spread it out a little bit. Crawl goes to the hoop and stops. Tosses it to Schrader. Schrader gets the ball, almost loses it, but gets it back. Then back to Crawl and then back to Slattery. Slattery's going to drive in and back it out. She'll launch it over to Phillips, quickly to Crawl. And back to Slattery. It's down to a minute to go in the game. Crawl to Monroe down in the corner, back to Crawl with 55. Phillips back to Crawl. Crawl finally gets fouled by Amanda Meyer. That'll be Meyer's fourth. Team foul number 9. Oakley checking back into the game, as is Norden. Checking out is going to be Lieb. And Noggle also going into the game. For the Rams, back into the game is number 3, Emily Haar, as Meyer will step out. And Bergman checks in for the Aces. Molly Crawl shooting 1 and 1. Misses the first one. Rams grab the ball. They get it to Haar. Haar down to Norden. Norden pulls the trigger on a 3 and hits it. So Norden, with her second 3 of the night, comes at an opportune time and makes it a 3-point game and an immediate timeout called by the Rams. Full 1-minute timeout from Tinora. Now both Tinora and the Aces have only 1 timeout remaining. Again, the Aces have the possession arrow pointing at them, so it's in their favor. As this one, as I said, it may go right down to the wire. It's been an exciting varsity contest. We had, again, it was sort of a lopsided game in the junior varsity earlier tonight. The Rams walked away with that one, 37-8. But in the varsity game, not quite the same situation, as we've only got a 3-point differential heading into the crunch time with less than a minute to go in the game. 38.7 seconds. Aces gonna break huddle. And here we go. It'll be Hicksville's ball after the 3-point shot. And we'll see what the Rams have come up with to see if they can pull the win out here tonight. Slattery launches it down to Crawl, and it's out of bounds to the Rams. And we're going to have a stoppage of play. So we're gonna, I guess they're going to reset. And the Rams are going to get to inbounds the ball from the baseline. I would have thought that it would have been on the other end of the floor, but all right, Norden, quick. They set up for a quick shot here, 35 seconds. Meyer over to Haar to Norden. Norden flips it over to Mueller, guarded by Slattery. Mueller over to Oakley on the wing. 20 seconds, and Norden with the ball now. Norden going to take the 3-point shot. Up, no good. And Phillips comes up with the ball. Phillips on the breakaway. She's going to hold it up, kick it back out to Slattery. Slattery tosses it over to Crawl, and Crawl's just going to see if she gets mugged. If not, she'll just wait for time to expire, and she does. 34-31, the Aces win a thriller here tonight. Green Meadows action. And so we're going to do some quick addition here so we can get you some unofficial scores. And we'll wrap this one up. All right, so let's run down the scores real quick here so we can make our way home on what we hope is not too much of a snowy evening. For the Rams on the short end of the scoreboard here, their leading scorer tonight, they had two with 7 points to their credit. Tristan Norton, a couple of threes and a free throw, and also 7 points for Emily Haar with a three and a couple of field goals for 7. Aside from that, 6 points from Anna Fraser. Anna had 2 field goals and 2 free throws for her point tally. All right. I'm not sure if they had a moment of silence. All of a sudden got really quiet here and a bit of a prayer, so I apologize for talking over that if that is the case. Where was I? Oh, yes, running down the scores. Amanda Meyer with 4 points for the Rams, 3 points tonight for Liv Mueller, and 4 for Kylie Oakley. For the Aces, leading all scorers tonight, the lone player in double figures, Kenzie Schrader. She had 4 field goals and a couple of free throws for 10. After that, let's see, Lindsey Bergman with 3 buckets and a free throw for 7. 3 field goals for 6 points for Kennedy Phillips. Avery Slattery, 2 buckets and a free throw for 5. 3 points for Molly Krall tonight, 2 for Kelsey Monroe, and a point off of a free throw for Kennedy Valena. So there you have it, 34-31. They battled it out till nearly the bitter end, and the Aces come away victorious here tonight in the Green Meadows Conference. As I said, with that, we are going to wrap it up because we're worried about the weather, so we want to pack up our stuff and make our way homeward. I want to say a big thank you to the Hicksville Athletic Department, to our basketball broadcast underwriters, the Jim Schmidt family of automotive dealerships in Hicksville, Ohio, and most of all to you for tuning in and joining us tonight. Hope you enjoyed our varsity basketball coverage. And with that, we're going to wrap it up. One last time, final score in the varsity game. It's the Aces knocking off the Rams, 34-31. And for Brian Williams on the camera, I'm Bill Murphy with Hicksville Community Television, wishing you good night and good sports.